Delays in the election of the City of Johannesburg's mayor. The council sitting is expected to reconvene this afternoon at 3:30. That's after a request for a break by the ANC caucus. The city is without a leader. That's after Al-Jama's Thapelo Ahmad resigned last week, just hours before he could face a motion of no confidence. Meanwhile, there are cracks in the DA-led coalition as Action SA and other smaller parties are fielding their own candidate, while the DA has its own. Our politics reporter Ziyanda Ngcobo is at the council and she joins us live now. Ziyanda, as the games continue, what's going on now?
There's a lot happening all at the same time, Dudu. So as you've already mentioned, Action SA is fielding its own Funzi Ngobeni alongside with its alliance partners, of course, the IFP, the UIC, as well as other smaller parties, after they say they reached out to the DA, who said to them yesterday, according to Michael Beaumont, they'll be fielding their own candidates in the form of Mpho Phalatse, who will, of course, be running for the third or fourth time, if memory serves me well. The other side of this, dude, is that earlier on the EFF initially requested an hour break for a caucus, and then when the council returned, it was then the ANC that requested a 3-hour caucus break. Now we understand at this stage from sources that the ANC in and of itself is divided on who should actually become the mayor and which candidate they will field. You'll remember, Dudu, that after that chaos in Ekurhuleni, there was a mistrust between the ANC and EFF. And so as a part of the negotiations between the two parties, the EFF will get the full support of the ANC and Ekurhuleni, while the ANC will be able to field a candidate from a minority party, that is, and will get the support of the EFF. So it's on that score then, Dudu, that we understand that no one from the ANC or EFF can be fielded in either of these councils. At this stage, Al-Jama's Kabelo is one of those who has been touted, but we understand that the ANC-NEC has rejected this name. So we understand that it's Colleen Makubele, who is currently the speaker of this council, versus Margaret, who comes from the AIC, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that point. She's also one of those who's been touted to become the mayor here. So that's why there's been this caucus, break. At the same time, we understand that the Patriotic Alliance, which is essentially the kingmaker of the ANC-EFF alliance, is saying that if a Joburg mayor is not elected, by the end of today, they're threatening to now move over to the DA coalition. And whilst all of this is happening, Dudu, the Cocta MEC in Gauteng, Mzi Khumalo, is watching, and residents are saying, well, perhaps if you look at the legislation, maybe it's time, and the preconditions that would allow for province to now intervene at a local government sphere, that time has arrived.
I think we should not use the word intervene too much, because overused, it creates its own tensions between the spheres of government. I think we must accept one fact, that the coalition governments are with us and they are evolving in the province as such. What we ought to be working around are what are the key principles that must inform coalition government as such in the province of Gauteng. For instance, on the issues of how many times a motion of no confidence can be brought forward into the council in a particular term of office, we should be discussing that. The other issue that we should be discussing is that should we regulate the coalition government, which we agree that we should be regulating it. And to that extent, we're busy with the study that we've put together, which study is intended to guide what should happen in all of the municipalities. Underpinning this kind of coalition should be issues that relate to service delivery. I think we must put a threshold as to what are the issues that we need to agree upon. And we should use those issues as a benchmark when we evaluate whether a person has been able to implement those issues or not, rather than merely political interest as we see it. Because if you look at everything else that has happened in the province, though parties have their own reasons and so on, it's largely rotating around political interest as such. Even on the speculation that you just spoke about, it's all about party political interest. And our view as a department is that let's move away from that emphasize on issues that relate to service delivery, because for this municipality to work and work efficiently, it is the people out there who are paying for their services and are expecting that this municipality must then serve them as such. And that, for us, should be key in all this arrangement that we're entering in.
MEC, another question is whether or not there shouldn't be some sort of a threshold or a legislation around how many motions of no confidence you can call within a specific period of time, because it would seem, for instance, like in the situation of Tshwane, that you don't have your own mayor, but you have your own speaker, and because now there's a new mayor that forms part of one coalition pact, you want to remove the speaker of the other coalition pact, and now there's sort of a motion of no confidence against that speaker, and a similar thing has happened here in Johannesburg as well. Is that something you're looking into with bodies such as SALGA as well?
Yes, the frequency of motion of no confidence is a source of concern to us. If you look at the standing rules of municipalities as it stands now, there is an attempt to regulate them, but it will say you can do it after 6 months and so on. And so we're saying maybe time has come that we must not talk about months, but we should talk about years. How many times in a particular year that you can. But also using the term of office, the 5-year term that councillors are elected as a benchmark to say maybe you can have those twice or thrice in that, and then you regulate them properly. But I think the country is agreeing that we've got to regulate coalition government. And I can tell, part of our study that we went to Italy, we went to Finland. I mean, in the entire country in Finland, the national government is a coalition government, provinces is coalition, local government is coalition. But all of these governments are working effectively because they are founded on certain key constitutional principles. For instance, they are agreeing that the party that has got the majority vote out of a particular elections is that party is the one that will constitute what it calls the minority government, I mean the coalition government. In other words, there shouldn't be an issue as to who becomes the mayor. The mayor will always come from the majority party. The president will come from the majority party. So I'm saying all of those constitutional principles that guides democracy should be embedded in one way or the other in the standing rules of our municipalities.
Very quickly for me, MEC, if a mayor is not elected here today, will we see a similar action as we did in Tshwane, where you said enough is enough, basically, I'm giving you X amount of days and this has to be done?
Well, we'll always be guided by what the law says. The law says that after general elections, the council has 14 days to elect its office bearers, and we're using that 14-day period as a guiding factor in this regard. So the municipality would have 14 days to ensure that since the resignation, to ensure that the mayor is elected. And the law further says if after 14 days the mayor is not elected, they will then be given 7 days to do that. Then a decision will be made after the 7-day period if this council is not properly constituted at that particular point. However, what worries us, and that's the point that we want to say, and that's a message we send to parties, they should, and we're confident that they will resolve these issues today. I'm more confident that there will be a mayor in this municipality by the end of this particular council, because there is work before us that we need to do. All municipalities are now having draft budgets. These draft budgets, together with the draft IDPs, must be consulted with communities. And that's the work that we need to do so that come June, July, we are able to adopt the budget. And so there is no time to waste if really we mean business. So and that's the point that we're emphasizing to them. It's not about what the law provides to you. It's about the task at hand that you have to perform.
Khumalo is the Gauteng Cooperative Governance MEC speaking about that. He's confident that by the end of today, Dudu, we'll have a City of Johannesburg mayor. Only time will tell. Maybe another caucus break request will come in once we resume at 3:30, or maybe finally the business of the day will get underway.
Time will tell. Ziyanda Ngcobo, thank you very much for that report. Do stay with us, because when we return, we take a look at